Okay, good morning everybody. We're doing the rest of Get Phrasal Verbs today. Now I can see we haven't got the whole board in there. Can somebody confirm, if anybody's out there, that we have the whole board in focus? I can see it on my phone, but sometimes I can't see the edges. Okay, it looks like nobody's here, so let's just get cracking. Let's get on with Get Phrasal Verbs Part 2. Now, I'm taking all of these phrasal verbs from my book, which is on my website, skype-lessons.com. So if you want exercises for these phrasal verbs, there are loads in here, and there's lots of pictures as well. And it's all visible, fantastic. So you can get it from Amazon if you're the kind of person who likes a nice paper book, and I totally understand you. I like a nice paper book as well. But if for those of you who are happy with a PDF or like reading on your Kindle and that kind of thing, go to my website. That's the cheapest place you can get these. So we'll start with get off on something, which is a sexual phrasal verb. It's very similar to turn somebody on, come on to somebody, hit on somebody. All of these are different. I don't want to say they're all the same, but they all involve sexual excitement in some kind of way. So if you get off on something, that means you get sexually excited by that something. Be sexually excited by that something. So people have lots of different fetishes out there, I'm sure. And so people get off on lots of different fetishes. They get off on lots of different things. But you could say that the fetish turns somebody on, and that would mean it excites them. You can also say that something turns someone off, meaning repulses them, disgusts them. And so you might say, I'm not sure, being rude turns me off. When people are rude, it really turns me off. Not usually that, being honest, but a particularly ugly feature could turn you off. Somebody's way of talking could turn you off. Somebody's voice could turn you off if it's a really annoying voice. Now, if you come on to somebody or hit on somebody, you are trying to chat them up, which is a similar phrasal verb. You are trying to chat someone up. You're trying to talk to them, to get their phone number, and maybe arrange a date in the future or something like that, a romantic meeting. But call it a date, because that's what we usually call it, something like that. Okay, so all of those are connected. Get over something or get over someone. They both mean recover. But get over something means recover from an illness. And in my opinion, it's usually quite a minor illness. It's not usually something really serious. And get over someone, it means recover from a breakup. Sometimes you break up with someone and you feel really upset. You were in love, you didn't want to break up. And then it might take you a few weeks or a few months or even a few years to get over that person. Okay, if you felt really in love with them and you're really upset when you break up, when you split up. So these both mean recover, but the first one, in my opinion, it's usually quite a mild illness. If it's something a little bit stronger, if it's something more life-threatening, you might want to use these ones. You might want to use pull through, hold up, or bear up. Because I think when somebody goes to hospital, we don't usually say it took them several weeks to get over their life-threatening condition. I think we usually say they managed to pull through. They are holding up, they are bearing up, meaning they are recovering slowly but surely. And so to pull through really means to survive. And you can see get through is similar to pull through. We'll see that. But to pull through means to survive, and to hold up or to bear up means to recover after some kind of serious injury. So they are similar, but get over something is like it took him a few days to get over the flu, something like that. Okay, if you get through to somebody, then you manage to contact them. Yeah, perhaps there's a bad line or a bad signal on your phone, and so it takes you a few minutes to get through to your friend. Just means contact them. But if you've got a particular message to give them, perhaps you've got a particular lesson to teach them or something like that. Maybe you're dealing with a young person and you want to advise them not to spend all of their money at the casino every weekend, and you try to explain that to them, you try to get them round, yeah, you try to bring them round, you try to persuade them not to go to the casino anymore, but you can't get through to them. They don't want to listen. They don't want to understand. Hi, Alexander. They don't want to understand. So if you get through to somebody, you make them fully understand. And it's usually when you're trying to give them advice or something like that. Okay, if you get to somewhere, you reach that place. You can get to work, you can get home. Yeah, the two drops with home, but get to work, get to school, get to the office, get home. Okay, remember with home that the two drops, that you don't use to with home. Why? I don't know. But it's always the case that you don't say to with home. I'm going home, but I'm going to the office, I'm going to work. And the same with get to. Get to the office, get to work, get to the station, get home. Now you ought to compare get to somewhere with get at something, because they both mean reach. But one means just arrive at a destination, and that's this one. Get to the office, get to school, get to work. Just means arrive at your destination. Get at something is when you reach out your arm, you stick out your arm, and you try to reach it with your arm. So getting at is grabbing. When you're trying to get at something, you are grabbing. It also means mean and imply. What are you getting at? What are you driving at? But to get at something means to grab and get it, okay? So get to somewhere, but get at something when you're trying to reach it. Okay, get up just means rise. First of all, you wake up and then you get up. But also, if you're lying on the ground, you can get up, meaning stand up, okay? And I think these are quite similar to words like sit up, which means sit up straight, usually, and not slouch or lay back. But sit up straight with your back straight. Get up to something means do most of the time. I use this phrasal verb all the time, and everybody does here. They say something like, what have you been getting up to? Yeah, or what have you been up to? Just without the get. What have you been up to? And it's exactly the same. So it can just mean, what have you been doing recently? What have you been getting up to? But it can also mean to do something naughty or a little bit wrong, suspicious, especially for children. So not really bad, not evil, not morally wrong, but doing something naughty and perhaps not behaving yourself very well. So if you can hear the kids playing upstairs, you might say, oh, what are they getting up to? They're doing something. I can hear them making lots of noise. Okay, get rid of something just means dispose of something or throw something away. So two more phrasal verbs that are very similar, or I suppose dispose of is just a verb, but with a dependent preposition. So dispose of, get rid of, they're very similar. Get out of something means avoid a duty or a responsibility. You can also worm out of a duty or responsibility, wriggle out of it, weasel out of it, and it usually means that you've been nice to somebody to avoid that responsibility. You get somebody on your side and manage to get out of going to the meeting. Maybe you suck up to the boss. Yeah, do you remember suck up to somebody? It means to be nice to somebody to get what you want. So you suck up to the boss, you butter him up, and in the end, you manage to get out of going to the meeting that everybody else has to go to. So you manage to get out of that duty, get out of that responsibility. You have weaseled out of it, you've wriggled out of it. Okay, so lots of good phrasal verbs there. Don't forget all these other ones. And again, they are all in the book. So please do buy the book if you like joining together all these phrasal verbs into a big web in your head. Now, if you get something out of something, this is usually derive something from something, usually a benefit. So it's usually used like this. You might say, I went to chess club at school and I got a lot out of it, meaning I got a lot of benefit out of it. I derived a lot of benefit from doing that. It helped to sharpen my mind, something like that. So I got a lot out of going to chess club at school. Okay, if you get round somebody, you persuade them by being nice. Now, there are lots of similar phrasal verbs here. If somebody comes round, then they are persuaded. They agree to do what you've been trying to persuade them to do. There's also bring somebody round. If you bring someone round, you manage to persuade them. So exactly the same as get round somebody, bring someone round. Win somebody over, you manage to persuade them. Wrap somebody round your little finger. This is really when you manage to completely manipulate somebody by being nice to them. So you're nice to them and you manage to wrap them round your little finger. So some children manage to wrap their parents round their little finger, and it means that they can get anything they want from them. They're manipulative children. They manipulate their parents. And of course, don't forget, talk somebody into doing something is also a very good phrasal verb for persuasion. Okay, get somebody round. I'm going to have to stand on this side now. Get somebody round means to invite someone to your house. Okay, and so maybe a friend, you might get a friend round when you call them and ask them to pop over, to pop round, to drop round, to call in on you. Get round to doing something. This was in yesterday's class, and it's when you find time to do something. I don't know how that got on the board actually. We did that yesterday, but it's back on the board again. Get round to doing something. So I was so busy, I didn't get round to finishing my homework. Very common excuse. If it is getting on, if it is getting on, it's getting on. That means it's getting late, it's getting on. If he is getting on, that means he's getting old, and you can see it, yeah? So to get on is either to get late or to get old, and there's no object here. But if someone is getting on, they're getting old, and if it is getting on, then it's getting late. The night is drawing in, yeah, that kind of thing. Now, next one, get through something. It means survive something difficult. So there's all sorts of things which can mean to... so to get through something means to survive. Maybe you manage to get through a divorce, something like that. That's obviously not a very pleasant experience. It's not a nice experience. But you manage to get through it and to deal with all the stresses and hassles. And in the end, you're okay. You've recovered. Yeah, you've pulled through. And this is why these are similar. Get through something is similar to come through something or go through something. Go through something just means experience something difficult. So they went through a messy divorce, you could say that. See something through means do something that's difficult until it's finished, until the project is complete or something like that. So it's good to use this one, for example, with university. You could say that he found his course very, very difficult, but he managed to see it through and get his degree. Yeah, so to see something through is similar to all of these ones. And we already saw that pull through means to survive, generally speaking. Okay, so get through something, survive something difficult, get in on something, become involved in a deal. This is like cash in on something, be in on something. So maybe all of your friends are, I don't know, investing in Bitcoin, and you decide to get in on some of the profits, to cash in on Bitcoin, to be in on this cryptocurrency. It has been going up recently. Somebody told me the value, and that's why that example cropped up. Get somebody down, it means to depress somebody, to make them feel sad. Bring somebody down is the same, and if you say she is down, that means she feels depressed, she feels sad. You can also say she is blue. It's another way of saying that somebody's sad, the colour blue. Get down to something, it's very similar to get on with something, because it means start doing something without delay, and it means direct your energy to it, really. Start doing it, direct your energy to this. So let's get down to learning these phrasal verbs. Let's get on with learning these phrasal verbs. Let's crack on with learning these phrasal verbs. They're all pretty similar. Get off work means finish work, and it's the same as knock off. He knocks off at 6 o'clock. He gets off at 5:30, that kind of thing. Get mixed up with is nearly always a bad crowd. Get mixed up with a bad crowd, get caught up with, or get caught up in. Sometimes there's an in instead of the with. Get caught up in a bad crowd, get mixed up in a bad crowd. Fall in with a bad crowd is the same as well, and it means become friends with a bad group. It's strange, but we've got several verbs meaning become friends with a group of people that are a bad influence on you. Okay, get carried away with something means to get worked up. To work yourself into a state is another way of saying it. To work yourself into a state, to get carried away, to get worked up. So it means to lose control of yourself because of your emotions. They take over. And when your emotions take over, you get carried away. Okay, so we can use this one with a lot of different emotions, but it means that you lose control of your emotions. We often say, I don't know what came over me, and come over means when an emotion takes over. And so get carried away with something, it means something has excited you or got you so emotional that you've lost control of your emotions. And get worked up is like a stressed version of that. When you get worked up, you get angry and upset and stressed out. Okay, that's all the get phrasal verbs I've got for you today. I think this will be the last one on get for some time. But please, if you've enjoyed this class, buy the book. It's on my website, skype-lessons.com, or on Amazon, and you can buy a black and white or colour version. Black and white's obviously much cheaper.